In 2019, scientists at the University of Toronto erased a specific memory from a living mouse brain and then put it back. Not damaged it, not suppressed it, erased and then restored it, like a file on a hard drive. If you think that's just a cool rat experiment with zero implications for you, you were wrong 10 seconds ago. And you're about to find out exactly how wrong. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you 3 things. First, the real neuroscience behind why erasing a memory is biologically possible, and it has nothing to do with science fiction. Second, the actual experiments are happening right now in humans that are frighteningly close to what you saw in Men in Black. And third, why this technology, if it scales, doesn't just raise ethical questions, it demolishes the entire concept of who you are. So, let's get into it. Here's the thing most people get completely wrong about memory. You don't store them like a video camera, where you're recording a continuous film of your life and playing it back. That's not how your brain works at all. Every time you remember something, your brain is actually reconstructing it, pulling scattered pieces from different regions and assembling them in real time. The hippocampus, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex are all working together like a dysfunctional film crew trying to reshoot a scene they only half remember. And here's the shocking part. Every time you recall a memory, it becomes unstable, but only temporarily. There's a window where the memory is physically vulnerable. Neuroscientists call it reconsolidation, like opening a Word document, and while it's open, you can edit it or delete the content. And that's not a metaphor. That is the actual peer-reviewed biology of how memory works. So, the Neuralyzer from Men in Black, the silver pen, the blinding flash, instant amnesia. Turns out, the writers may have accidentally stumbled onto something real. Not the pen or the flash, but the idea that a memory has a biological delete button. That part is looking more and more like a documentary. The protein that holds your memory together is called PKM-zeta. In 2006, researchers found that if you chemically block just that one protein, you can erase a fully formed long-term memory. Not blur it or suppress it, erase it. They did this in a rat in 2006. Within hours, the memory was gone. Fast forward to 2014. MIT, a team led by neuroscientist Steve Ramirez, took a mouse and played with its fear memory. They genetically tagged the specific neurons that fire during a fear memory, the neurons that literally encode, "This place is dangerous." They used a technique called optogenetics, where neurons were modified to respond to pulses of light delivered through a fiber optic cable directly into the brain. Then, they reactivated that fear memory in a completely safe environment. The mouse froze in terror in a place it had never been hurt. They had taken a memory, found its physical address in the brain, and played it like a song. And if you can play it on demand, you can also delete it. No drugs, no surgery, just light. The Neuralyzer in its most primitive form had just been built. Now here's where it gets uncomfortably close to home. Although optogenetics doesn't work in humans yet, the genetic modification required is too invasive, but there's another approach that does. It's called targeted memory reactivation combined with electroconvulsive disruption, and it's being tested on humans with PTSD right now. On the topic of PTSD, I definitely have to mention about DARPA. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the US military's R&D arm. The people who gave us the internet and stealth aircraft. They launched a program called RAM, Restoring Active Memory. The stated goal? Help soldiers with traumatic brain injuries recover lost memories. It's noble, genuinely good. But the same neural interface technology that can restore a memory can, in theory, do the opposite. DARPA's work involved implanting electrode arrays directly into the hippocampus and entorhinal cortex, and using machine learning to decode which neural patterns corresponded to which memories. They succeeded in human patients. They could identify the neural signature of a specific memory being encoded. If you can identify it being written, the next question writes itself. Nobody at DARPA is officially working on memory deletion, but the infrastructure, the electrodes, the decoders, the access is already there. The Neuralyzer isn't just a magic wand, it's an engineering problem. And the engineering is most of the way solved. So let's say this scales. 10, 20 years from now, a reliable, targeted, minimally invasive way to erase specific memories in a human being. What actually happens? The first application is therapeutic, and it's genuinely beautiful. Millions of people trapped in the loop of trauma. The memory of an assault that replays every night. The neural pathway of craving that's destroyed someone's life of 30 years. The possibility of simply removing that cleanly, that's not dystopia. That could be one of the most compassionate medical breakthroughs in human history. But the same tool that liberates a trauma survivor can be used on a witness, on a whistleblower, on a soldier who saw something they weren't supposed to see, or anyone who remembers something that someone powerful would prefer they didn't. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. What are you without your memories? Not philosophically, neurologically. Your personality, your values, your relationships, your sense of self, these are all downstream of what you remember and how you remember it. Memory isn't just where you store the past, it's the substrate of identity. If someone removes a formative memory, even a painful one, they don't just erase an event, they alter who you are. The version of you that comes out the other side is not quite the same person who went in. There's a term for this in bioethics: psychological continuity. The idea that you are you because of an unbroken chain of memories linking your past self to your present one. Erase enough links, deliberately or not, and the philosophical question of whether you are still the same person stops being abstract. Memory editing technology should be classified not just as a medical procedure, but as an intervention on personal identity, requiring a new category of informed consent. One that doesn't just ask, do you agree to this treatment? But, do you agree to potentially become a different person? Right now, no such framework exists in the law, anywhere in the world. The Neuralyzer in Men in Black was a joke. A silver pen, a flash, amnesia on demand for the alien of the week. But underneath the comedy, the writers put their finger on something real. We have the biology and the technology in its early form. We have institutions with motive and funding pushing it forward. What we don't have, not yet, is any serious legal, ethical, or social architecture to govern what happens when erasing a memory becomes as accessible as prescribing an antidepressant. The Men in Black had a rule: the public can't know about aliens because they can't handle it. The real question isn't whether we can build the neuralizer, it's whether we can be trusted with it. That's it for today, folks. What incident in your life would you like to erase? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Click on subscribe and the bell icon to get update about next video.